gray. Well, doesn't matter who. Hello, anyone watching this video. This is a how-to video of the second part of your project. So this is the template. It's down below if you need it. And so your first graphs should be looking really good. This was our first one. This looks a little different. This is my grade 8-9 template, but you had your degrees on the right over here. I'll even highlight it so you can see it. Yellow. Your degrees on over here, right there. Remember, you have to put these in rank order. So that means you're going to tell me which one is the biggest and number them all the way down to the smallest, but do not use the totals because those aren't actual items there, right? So you only want to use the numbers that have expense lines in it. Once you have graphed that using a protractor, we went over that in class. If you need help, I need you to come and see me at a different time. It's going to be hard to do the other things, but do the math. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to be graphing your expenses on the big graph. Now in the first graph, we were these circles represented the percentage of your expenses to your income. Now the difference is with this graph, we're just going to graph your expenses. So the calculations are a slightly bit different. So first thing is on this sheet, you'll see it says total expenses. So this means no income, shouldn't be a minus. So we have to calculate our total expenses. So you go to your handy dandy spreadsheet. Income tax, right here. I'm going to highlight the ones that you need to add up. That's an expense. The total of your car, that's an expense. Your property total, that's an expense. Now, this is where it's going to get a little interesting for you because food, cell phone, entertainment, that's all going to be one single entry. Okay, so that's going to be the other. I want your travel to be its own line. If you've added, no, savings, everyone should have 10%. If you've added the investment and the give, because on your first circle graph you had a lot of money unaccounted for, I want those to be independent lines. Okay, so these three green, phone, cell phone, entertainment, those are going to end up as your other. I want travel, savings, investment, and give to be their own line. All right, now what you do is you're going to add all of that up. So you total it all up. Add up all the yellow and this, let's make that a different color just so you don't get confused with your income. Let's make it pink. So the yellow and the pink, add those all up. I have a spreadsheet that does it for me, so my total is 157,700. This is where you're going to put this right on your document. Will it let me modify it? I don't know. Come on. There we go. So I have 157,700. That's going to be my total expenses. So this now is our whole. That's what the circle is going to represent. And now what you get to do, it's really fun. You're going to love this. Well, I hope you will. And if not, it's good practice. By the end of this, you guys will get so good at these calculations, it's going to blow your mind. So here I have $30,000 for income tax. I'm going to write 30, 1, 2, 3, divided by my total income, which is 157,700. So here, let's make that a little bigger. So do you see how now, in our first graph, we did the expense on this divided by your income. Okay, the grade 9 one here is a little different. On your sheet it'll say x divided by income, and you'll have a fraction, a really big fraction. This one, oh, I'm going to need that. There it is, part versus whole. So here I would have had 30,000 divided by 100,000. Okay, so the whole in the first graph was your income. The whole in this one is going to be our total of our expenses. Now, 30,000 for that, car total. Now, we're not going to worry about all the little bits in between. We're just going to put in the overall total. It's going to be a much faster graph to do. So I get 8800. Wow, that's cheap. I must have made those numbers up. Divided by 157,700. Property total. Scroll down. 69700. So we 69700 divided by 157,700. Now this is interesting. On mine, you see how my income was actually 100,000? I was over by 57%. I'm not going to worry about if I'm over or under in this graph because the whole graph is going to be just the expenses. Now let's go to entertainment, food, phone, and internet. So in this one, I'd add this up. So I get 3,000 plus 1,200 is 4,200 plus 10,000. So that's 14,200. 14,200 divided by 157,700. Savings, I get 10,000 divided by 157,700. Here's a fun thing. When you guys get into grade 8, 9, you get a spreadsheet that does all the calculations for you. But not this year. You guys got to do it by hand with your calculator. Here we go. Travel, it's 10,000 divided by 157,700. By the way, when I divide that number, investment, I got another 10,000, 157,700. And give, I'm going to do 5,000 divided by 157,700. Now, let's say on your spreadsheet over here, your total is significantly lower than your income. I want you to account for everything within $5,000. So this tray of travel, savings, investment, and give, you may not have an investment or give. But if, let's say you have $20,000 that you haven't accounted for. So my expenses come to $80,000. I make $100,000. Now you get to have an investment, or you get to add a give or donations. This is money that you give on a yearly basis that you support charities with. So that's how you kind of get to those numbers. All right. Now, next thing, we go to the decimal. How do I calculate the decimal? Now, the neat thing here is you've done all this before. We don't actually need this anymore. We'll get rid of that. You've done all this before. Hopefully you've done this a lot. So now I take my numbers. 123 divided by 157,700. What do I get? To the hundredth spot. This is 0.19. I go in and type it in, 0.19. Next thing, what is that out of 100? Well, it's in the hundredth spot, so it's 19 out of 100. How do I calculate that out of 360? I'm going to show you the easy way to do it today. So remember, when we have a percentage, here, 19%. When we have a percentage of a number, if we want to find out what is 19% of 100, we're going to multiply that by the decimal equivalent of the percentage. Hey, guess what? That's right there. We've already done that. Equals. So this is 19 out of 100. See how that works? It even shows us right there. Now, we want to do that out of 360, because how many degrees are in a circle? Yeah, you do. 360. So I went 360. Let's do that one more time. I get 360, not 69. Clear. 360 times 0.19. I get 68.4. So we're going to round that to the nearest whole number, which is the number to the left of the decimal. It's going to be 68. 68 out of 360. Now, if you would prefer to do the cross multiply and divide, you can still do that. So you set up your 19 out of 100 equals blank out of 360. You go 19 times 360 divided by 100, which is really just this here. So my degrees are 68. Right? And you do that for all of these. Remember, at the bottom, you want to total these up to make sure that you're close to 360 with the degrees. If you're out by more than 5 degrees, 5 to 7 degrees, then you've made an error in your calculation. This degrees here is now what you're going to use to go to your circle graph. Remember, you need to draw a line. What if it let me do it? No, draw a line down the center. That's going to be your base. Then you start to do your degrees, either from biggest to smallest or smallest to biggest. That's it, guys. That's the job. See if you can get them done. Remember, these are going to be posted, so take your time coloring them. You can save yourself time here. Use this as your legend. So put whatever color you make income tax, put a nice neat square next to it, color your income tax on your graph. That's all for me, guys. Let me know by email if you need any help. See you next week.